This is the third garden tour. It is July 10th, 3 weeks since the last one, and there's been a lot going on. It is crazy growing time in the garden where things just kind of go wild and you just try hard to keep up and then also just kind of let things go kind of crazy. Our yard is also really starting to fill in, which is nice, so it isn't such a sandbox inside. So that 80 tons of sand is starting to pay off. Greg got the chicken coop done, and we decided to add a little artwork to it. Of course, there's going to be a run. We're going to enclose it here, which is good because the baby chickens are 4 weeks old now, and they'll be ready to go out in a couple weeks, and then we get our next set in of the Polish chicken and the fancy little chickens in. And so, how cute is that? Butt nuggets with the hen den. That's actually a window up there, and this is where we'll be able to get in and get their eggs out. So that's a really nice addition. We're right next to the shade garden, and then I'll plant some fodder and stuff like that along the sides where we can feed them with it. Shade garden, still being a weed garden except for the herbs. So we're just gonna keep it like that for now. I'll probably turn it into a shady herb garden for next year. You can see we've added the fence to the garden. We'll look at that in just a second. A little experiment over here with that little watermelon that I have done nothing with. It hardly gets any sun. I haven't fertilized, I haven't nothing. And look at the little watermelon. It's an icebox watermelon, so it's not gonna be real big, but it's just really starting to ramble and do its thing. Had some blossoms on it. I think there's some baby little watermelons also starting to form up in there. So that's really nice. And these elephant ears, my gosh, these are, I mean, that gives you any indication of how big those things are. They are ginormous this year. I don't know why. I don't know if I did anything special. I fertilized them with some different fertilizer this year. Maybe that's it. But they are, this one's huge. This one is probably as big as my torso. It's just absolutely huge. And the Jerusalem artichokes are getting really big and tall. They definitely like being in the ground better than they like being in the pot. The pot is a little bit stressful for them, but keeping them on the drip system seems to help. That's the one in the pot right there. The sunflowers, some of these things are at least 10, 12 feet tall, and they're starting to bloom out really nicely. And we added a fence around, and there's a gate down there. And so we'll take a look around in here. There's some of our sunflowers, all bright and cheery and happy. And some more of our sunflowers. Some of them have already bloomed out, so we'll let those heads hang over and dry, let the birds get what they want, and then I'll harvest the seeds for next year. And that guy. We've pulled, I think, 2 tomatoes off. We've got lots of tomatoes setting. These chocolate striped tomatoes are much bigger. I'm wondering if they're really that, I think. But we've got some other little cherry tomatoes setting in here. We've got some good tomatoes coming up in here. Some yellow pear tomatoes. We did actually pull 1 yellow pear tomato off. It's got a bunch of fruit sets up here. Not a fan of growing in these grow bags, but it was I had to do that because of that contaminated hay. Look at this German queen though. Look at the size of this tomato. I mean, that tomato that's gonna be a pound and a half. This one's huge too. That one's even bigger. So we'll see how big they get when they grow out. It's probably an emaciated bloom, I would think. Feel in the back, but I'm not sure. The beans are done. I'm just waiting for the pods to get all dried up so I can save the seeds from that. And if we pan over here, the lotuses, our lotus experiment, they love being in this still water with consistent fertilizer. So we have had lots and lots of lotus blooms. The ground cherries are nice and big. We had a huge harvest of them this morning. Spider mites or something though, so next year make note to plant these where you can really access them front and back, because they shouldn't be spotty like that. The pest pressure and the disease pressure right now is really high because we've been getting so much rain. Yeah, you always gotta find one. These are like little delights. I'm planting these everywhere next year. You hear the frogs have made a home in our pond, which will become a permanent thing. Candace taking over this leads, guess where? Yep, you're right, on up to the fair pumpkins. We had to build a shade cover for these things. That pumpkin over there, I don't even know how I can get in there and show you how big that thing is. This pumpkin, to give you an idea, that's my hand. That is a huge pumpkin. I would guess that thing weighs 60 plus pounds right now. And here's the other fair pumpkin that we're trying to grow. That one's getting a little more orange, so I don't know if this is gonna get any bigger. But this is Greg's little shade table so they don't get sunburned. God forbid they get sunburned. Wouldn't want that to happen. Some more sunflowers. The hugel beds are still going strong, needing a little bit more water. But the zucchini and the squash in here is, I keep thinking it's time to pull them out, and they keep producing. As a matter of fact, I see a small zucchini child right there. They've just produced and produced and produced, and then produced some more. Oh, geez. There's another. We've been getting tons of rain the last 2 days. So no wonder, huh? And then we have our pretty little archway here, which stuff is trellising right on up there. We've got our Armenian cucumbers, which once again, we got some disease and pressure. We got our first real Armenian cucumber really starting, and tons of these little sweet little cucamelons. These are a definite grow. They're not substantial for food wise, but they sure are fun to eat, and they're so crispy. They have a little bit of lime taste on them. I love coming out here when I do my early morning garden work, and that's never would have thought I'd eat those like at 6:30 in the morning, but sure do. They're just everywhere. And this is the patty pan squash. We just recently harvested, oh gosh, quite a few of them. Been pretty disease resistant. Getting some powdery mildew because of all the rain. They're so cute. And they taste really good. They're like a yellow squash, but a little bit nuttier. And then we have our jack-o'-lantern pumpkins. Where you can see they're already starting to turn orange a little bit. And last time we could count, because it's just a mass of leaves, there's probably, and it's grown all the way up there. I think last count, there was like 15 of them in here, but I'm sure there's probably more when we pull them out. And then we have our other little watermelon right here. Look at the little watermelon guy right here. Curiously enough, this watermelon doesn't even seem to be doing as good as the other one that only has a couple hours of sun. See, it's about time to pull the squash out. I just wanted to get one last video with it in here before we pulled it out. That's our cute little gate. It goes out. Helps when we have the grand dog that her and Koa don't play tag through the garden, which is not good with all that in there. So there's the squash in that hugel bed. That squash has about run its course. We have had so much squash. If I never saw another squash, I'll be totally okay with that. These sweet little petite sunflowers. They're just little fun sunflowers. They're getting ready to bloom. And that's all that pumpkin still. That jack-o'-lantern pumpkin. I mean, just crazy. That thing is just gone nuts. My nieces and nephews will be so excited to be able to come in here and pick their own pumpkins. And then our bee balm, our morning glory. The sweet potato vines are starting to finally creep. Not sure, that one back there especially. So maybe just the heat and enough rain. Need to get in there and weed some, huh? And that's the view back through there. So elephant ears again. I think it was the 19 fertilizer, because that's the only thing new that I've done on those this year, and they're just going crazy. Which of course I don't put on the garden because it's not organic, but I do put it on things that we do not eat, like these elephant ears that are so big. I wish you could eat those. Hi, Koa. What are you doing? Hi, good farm dogs. Hi, Roscoe. What you doing, Roscoe? Sunflower again. Celery is getting huge. It'll be wonderful for fall stuff and for freezing. This big old mess over here, these are dahlias. Japanese beetles have been just obnoxious this year. The problem with the rain is when you're using organics, it all comes off when you spray and then it rains. So here's more cucumbers. I think there's 3 types of cucumbers in this mess right here. Armenian whites. Looks like maybe some lemon yellow cucumbers maybe. And I think regular green cucumbers, probably. Sometimes I can't even remember. Masquerade pepper, those suckers are hot. especially these, like the deep red like this. Oh my gosh, they are so hot. And our banana peppers are coming right along. This tomato plant just has just tons of tomato sets. It's amazing, especially for being an indeterminate tomato. Just has a lot there down towards the bottom. Once again, some cucumbers. Disease and pest pressure here, so we'll see what they do. And they're starting to climb up over this trellis here. We're getting some, where's Chicken Man? We're getting, hey honey, we're getting some nice poblanos. Big, or these might be ancho chilies actually, because they're not quite as big as the poblanos on here. But it's getting just about time to harvest them. They're looking so pretty, the color's gorgeous. And then, oh yep, these are regular green cucumbers. Need to be picking those. This monster is the one seed of the yellow cucumber that volunteered itself. If you've never had what they call a lemon cucumber, it's an old heirloom variety. Looks like a round lemon. Tastes just like a really soft, sweet kind of cucumber. And you can see how it's just trailing all the way out into the pasture. Thank goodness the horses don't like it because they haven't been bothering it. It's going to take over this entire fence line before it's all done, I think. We probably harvest, oh gosh, obviously you can tell I didn't harvest this morning. We probably harvest 8 to 10 of these a day. And I need to. We'll have double that tomorrow morning because I didn't get a chance to do that this morning due to that pesky thing called work. So then we go to our pepper box. And we've got some more poblanos. Here's our cowhorn peppers. These are super hot too. We like spicy things, especially Greg. And our red bell peppers look like they need to be staked up. They're coming right along. Everybody's kind of droopy after that rain. Purple bells. These are a spicy one too called havasu. It's a hot pepper. This little guy right here is probably ready to be harvested. Not to be confused with a sweet banana pepper, that's for sure. And that is gonna be the hot banana pepper. He's just now setting blooms there. Those are lunchbox peppers, red and yellows. And some more ancho chilies in there. Our mammoth jalapenos. I can't remember what that one is. This is a mammoth jalapeno here, kind of growing up in the shade of the sunflower. They like the heat, but maybe not as much as that direct sun. These mammoth jalapenos, I don't know if there's any big ones on here. We just picked a bunch. They are indeed mammoth. This one will grow about twice this size, and you can see how big it is. So tasty. Not super hot yet though, so we haven't quite figured that out. And then here is another poblano. We love poblanos and peppers, can you tell? And it's just deep and wide in there. Sweet banana pepper, and my favorite, oh, where are you, Mad Hatter? Look at how cute this is. I can't wait to try him. That's called a Mad Hatter pepper. Isn't he adorable? Just a little bit of heat with a citrus note. Our brassicas, still making it. I don't really think it's the right time to grow them, but we'll see. Onions and chives. Okra's coming up. That's the jambalaya, the real productive okra. And some more cucumbers if they make it. And some pretty little cosmos zinnias. Over there. You can see the lantana over here. And the nasturtiums are still hanging in there even though they don't like the heat. I want to take you around to see the cantaloupe, which are really nice and big. Got lots of them. Powdery mildew starting to get the best of us, but oh, and the okra. We've been harvesting lots of okra back here too. We did pull out those potatoes. We had no intentions on eating the potatoes because we knew that they were tainted from that hay, but we just wanted to see, doing a little experiment to see if we could grow them through it. So we replaced the soil. That's where the potatoes were. There's a big old sunflower up there, and we have planted a bunch of flower seeds and Swiss chard and that kind of stuff that can come up. And then this is the sad little plant with powdery mildew, but I've got them up on these medical, like this is what medical samples used to be in, like sealed ones, so that the bugs didn't, so the slugs and stuff couldn't get our melons first. And the okra is really, I'm keeping it trimmed up in a new way, which really is working well. So trim up all the leaves. There's more okra already to harvest. I just harvested yesterday. is doing really well and producing quite a bit for us. There's another super tall sunflower. Now look at this patch of melons, cantaloupes. Cantaloupes are not easy to grow, or never have been for me. So I'm super excited. And this guy is still producing. I saw some baby cantaloupes even yesterday, little baby fuzzes. So it's still producing cantaloupes, which is pretty amazing. And then over there is a massive ground cherry. I think the ground cherries maybe don't like quite as much sun, and it stays a little more wet over here. So we may plant a couple more over on this side of the house next season. There's the lettuce trial, which actually is going really well. So you can grow lettuce in the heat. Just keep it in the shade and keep it wet. Volunteer tomato. Hello. And this is a volunteer. I'm not sure what. We have cucumbers coming out our ears, so probably cucumber, I think, up in there. So the lettuce does work. You just got to keep it kind of shaded, and it's pretty tasty. And then, of course, our ground cherries. So that is the July 10th update for the garden.